Let's go around the grounds for Greenworks, Australia's ultimate battery-powered garden brand. And again, we go tonight. Philippou in Travaglia goes out for St Kilda. Silvani, Binns and Francis Evans. Doherty, Fogarty and Carroll out for the Blues. Did we see what St Kilda did to Freo last week, Simo?
Yeah.
Can they do the same to Carlton, or will it be different?
It'll be a bit different. I showed a bit of stuff on I don't know how that's going. A bit of stuff on Fox Footy pre-game about what St Kilda did to Fremantle's mids. They played in front because Fremantle's mids, after Young went out, were just a bit small, and they boxed them out really well. They'll go to town on something different with Carlton. So I still think the Blues should be favourite on talent, but when it clicks for St Kilda with what they do, it works really well. It just doesn't click all the time. They're 4-4. They probably don't have the depth Carlton does have, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I'm still going to tip the Blues, but the Saints will find a way to be competitive.
They will be very interesting, and of course, both these teams are trying to find their way into finals contention. It's 10th place, 13th, the MCG here to all the action.
If the Blues lose, is the season
in trouble? They're in real trouble.
They'll be 3-6.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a long way back.
It is. Jacob Van Rooyen and Clayton Oliver returns, which is good to see. Matthew Jefferson are the ins for Melbourne. This game is, of course, tomorrow at the MCG against Hawthorn. It's a big game. Viney, Melksham and Petty out for the Demons. And Amon comes in for Tom Barras. Josh Ward plays his 50th game.
What's wrong with Barras?
Don't know.
Barras?
Barras.
Well, it's been Barras since I've been...
It's Barras, according to Tom.
Yeah. Well, he's never corrected me, so maybe that's why he left. What's wrong with him?
I don't know.
Right. What's it say? Don't we have to be more transparent now?
Well, I don't think so. He's out. He's being rested.
Right. Okay.
Management.
Right. Yeah. Look, I think the Hawks are about where they need to be this time of year. They've got the wins in the bank, but their numbers aren't jumping off the page. And Melbourne, very interesting. Melbourne, 14 or 15 premiership players in that side, and they should be better than what they are. So this is actually moving day for Melbourne. If they can actually compete and win this game, not just play well, but win, then perhaps Melbourne may be back. But I'm tipping the Hawks.
You're tipping the Hawks.
Who are you tipping?
I didn't mind what I saw with Melbourne last week. I know they only beat West Coast, but I didn't mind it. But yeah, you'd be a brave man to tip against Hawthorn because I don't think they're going at full power either.
No,
they're still
right.
winning. I like this one. I just want to read this one. Dan from Kensington, Scotty and Goss, Simo and Goss, just Scotty's comments yesterday that would be a win for the ages if Collingwood to get up. They've dropped 4 players of 958 games in total, but still have 3,134 games on the park compared to Freo's 1,704. Not to mention the age experience, 23 to 27. Goss said the Pies are coming to win. You agree with that? You're big on the age thing, aren't you?
Well, I am with Fremantle.
Yep.
Yep.
All righty. Thank you.
They don't have any 200-game players
at
the moment. So my point is, in 2 or 3 years, they'll have 4 or 5 or 6, and they'll get some more talent and they'll be fine.
Marvel Stadium, here's an interesting one. It's 11th plays 14th. It's Essendon and the Sydney Swans. That's right. Sydney are 14th. They lose Melican through suspension. Ben Patton, the former Saint, is in. These are the ins for Essendon. Hayes, Days Wicks, which is one player, Caldwell, Shield and El Hooley, which is also one player. Ridley, Gresham, Menzies, Sardis and Jones out. The outs for Essendon are way more experienced and better players as a collective than the ins. Thoughts?
Yeah, how many changes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going for an upset this week. Yeah,
Bombers.
I'm a Coxie mate of mine, but I just think Sydney had a good win on the weekend. They played the Giants, and it was back to some of the things we've seen in previous years. But I still think they rely on too few. And I'm going to tip an upset.
Warner was better last week against GWS. He won the medal. He won the Brett Kirk medal for best on ground after a couple of down weeks, and he came across here and had some time off, and then there was all the contract talk, and he's made a comment that he needed to move on and make a statement, but he was really happy with what the club has done for he and his partner in regards to staying at the football club.
Yeah, they would have gone to town. And from talking to Horse about this, they look after their own as much as they look after the attracting players part of the, so they treat every player from a retaining point of view, because it's it's critical in Sydney more than anywhere because you're not from Sydney most of the time. So their system about retention is excellent. So they would have gone to town on that, not just the last couple of months.
Have you seen a dramatic change in clubs and what they do? And we're seeing this with Hawthorn. This is what everyone thinks about. Josh Battle, Tom Barras getting to the football club. What clubs are doing for wives, partners and families. Yeah. Has that escalated to almost the important piece of the puzzle?
It's definitely part of it, yeah. It's the whole package. So I suppose where we were at was more, we'll look after you off field in terms of career. Once you finish at West Coast, we're going to set you up. Not guaranteed a job, but we'll give you now it's we're going to meet the wife. We're going to set her up as much as the player. And it sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? But it's just evolved to a point now where it's the whole package, and it's not getting players, it's keeping players as well. Yeah. And it's a bit different for West Coast and Freo because 60% of their list is local, whereas I think Sydney probably 80% is from interstate. So they've got to go a bit harder.
But it's interesting, because you talk about say Tim Kelly and what the club had to do to get Tim Kelly across to West Coast. That was, for me, is probably, I stand corrected on this, probably one of the first real public, Tim needs this in place for his wife and children and his boys, which we understand that story. And I thought that's the first time. But then if on the flip side, you've got Barras and Battle, and it's all about their partners and kids and stuff like that. And now it just seems prevalent. And then for Warner to come out publicly and say what they did for my partner was a key piece and for my family was a key piece to his song.
I think it's probably just a sign of the times how connected they are to their partners. Where back in the day it was, listen, Nicky, I'm going to West Coast.
You follow.
Yeah, and I'm still living that down.
When's that going to change?
Well, that was the coaching. It was like, I said, I think I'm going to get this job. And she said, no, you're not. I said, if I get it, are we going to Perth? And she said, oh, well, I don't think you're going to get it. And then I got it, and it was, well, off we go. So it's different now.
How many years you been here now?
12. Yeah. So, it's interesting with the players. The partners are very, very important, as they should be.
This is a big game. This is Gold Coast versus Bulldogs. It's in Darwin. Gold Coast have won 6 of their last 6 there. Fiorini, Ben Long, Clahesi and Rosas are in. Ethan Reid, Weller, Swallow and Budrick are out. Gallagher and Poulter come in for Treloar and Jed Buslinger. This is huge, these two teams.
Before we go, I've got to renege on the Sydney Essendon game. I just realised they played North. And I was there. And
you're flipping your tip.
I am. Yeah. They kicked 2 goals after.
You're a brave man, mate. You're a brave man there.
I'm going Sydney.
I think Sydney easily. Back to this one.
Yeah, look, it's
Darwin. And now you subscribe to this. You've been very big on the dampness, the dew, the wet footy. Is that the reason why we think the Gold Coast Suns are pretty good at Darwin because they sort of train in this stuff?
I think they won 6 in a row there.
Yeah,
so it's
pretty good.
It's different. WA definitely. We're dry here. We're the humidity in Darwin. It just is completely different. The game is completely different. The Bulldogs, though, I think Melbourne's a little bit different. Rains a bit more. It gets slippery, and so I think they adapt a little bit better. It's a very important. The Suns have lost 2 out of the last 3. So they lost to Richmond, then they had a win at home, and then they've lost to Brisbane. So and they haven't beaten a lot this year. So I think I'm going to tip the Bulldogs. Yeah. But, all signs point towards the Suns. But I'm going to tip the Bulldogs just based on I think they stand up a bit better.
Righty.
Who are you tipping?
I've chopped and changed. I just love what the Bulldogs are doing. I have this infatuation with Bontempelli, but I think Gold Coast just simply on their form. Okay, showdown, slow down, call it what you like. It is Port Adelaide. It's been a tumultuous week for them. Can I just ask you, may I touch on this? How unsettling is a big incident like the Willow-Rioli saga take out of a football club? I know everyone says, stay in your lane, we'll focus on the footy.
That wasn't big. 2 years suspension's big.
Yeah.
That's what Willie did 2 years ago.
That was a tough finals campaign.
Yeah, well, that happened in the hotel.
Oh, I know.
At 8 o'clock at night.
Wow.
The night before the game.
Did it derail anything?
It was a final. It was a semi-final. And
was everyone just nonplussed? Was everyone just going, what the heck's just happened?
Not nonplussed. That's not the right way to describe it. We just got to deal with it and move on. But all of a sudden, it was like,
What was that?
yeah, what was that? And it was just a whirlwind. And you get knocked out the next day, and then you've got to deal with everything.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Yeah, unfortunately for everyone, it's been a little bit common. The social media piece, it's interesting how it's so addictive, social media, whether you're 18, like my boy, or you're 42, like you, and 60. It's addictive, and you some people respond differently. So it's affirmation and love, and then there's criticism, and then there's the racial abuse that Willie's had to cop, and expressing your thoughts on social media sometimes can get you in a bit of trouble. So his on-field stuff, I didn't know about that, and it sort of stays on field. But once you carry it on to the social media platform, you're getting a bit of strife. So
how would he be dealing with this, do you think?
Not great.
Okay.
I don't think he's anyone would handle the attention. No one wants this attention, whether it's what if it's not football, you don't want it. So I think the Crows will win heavily. I'm going a big win.
Hinge in for Brodie Smith. So Vicentini, Sin, Moraes, McEntee and Burton are all the ins for Port. So it's lots of changes. Lorenz, Rioli, Sweet, Evans and Berry are the outs.
The succession plan has come and gone, hasn't it? As in, I heard some of the rhetoric early in the year. Just make it now. Why are we waiting? This is not working. And then I think they won 2 or 3 in a row, Port. If they lose this week heavily, will that conversation come back?
Well, they reckon they're working hand in glove, and they reckon it's all under control. And it's all.
Yeah, I think
the conversation will come back, but whether they make a change
until they think they can't win a flag, or it's mathematically impossible to play finals. I mean, I think that's when discussion will take place if it is to be taken.
And you're a believer in Adelaide, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, I think they had a blip last year. Yeah, unless they're just fast starters, and they've had a lot of home games as well. So I think we both discussed that.
They were off here last week against Freo. They were off. Yeah,
and that still happens when you travel. So yeah, I think Adelaide will play finals. I don't know how high, but they're destined to play finals this year.
This is we're going to take a break and come back with the Sunday games, including Richmond West Coast. Still to come also is Luke Shuey. You saw Collingwood last night. We know where Brisbane are at. Are we getting it down to 2 or 3 teams? If you had to pick, I know we're only 9 games in, so I don't want to throw you under the bus here, but where are we at with teams that can genuinely, who look right now, flag contenders?
Well, you go off the past too. Like you sort of think, well, Geelong can win the flag, right? But they're 7th on the ladder, whereas Gold Coast are 4th. And you go, well, they can't win the flag. So I think it's a bit early, mate.
Can the Bulldogs win the flag?
Yep.
They're best available. Yep.
Yep. So I think what the first discussion is the 8. How far are we away from the 8 being locked in? And outside of the 8 at the moment is Fremantle, St Kilda, Essendon, Port, Carlton, Sydney, Melbourne, Richmond, North and West Coast.
There's 4 teams or 5 teams outside the 8 right now that many people would have had in the 8 in their pre-season predictions.
Who?
Melbourne.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought Melbourne. Okay, Melbourne might be a stretch.
Did Melbourne play finals last year? No.
All
right.
Fremantle.
Yeah.
Carlton. Sydney.
Did Carlton play finals last year? Yes. Did they win a game late?
Yeah.
They might have.
But we're pre-season prediction-wise, so you're going on last year. I'm just going on what I think everyone's expected this year. So Fremantle, Carlton, Sydney, Port Adelaide, I reckon a lot of people would have had.
Well, they finished second last year. Sydney finished top, so it's a good point.
Fremantle were 3rd, round 21 last year.
Yeah, I know.
That was the first, that was your first game not coaching. They were 3rd.
So I did it.
That's your fault.
Mosdem.
Because a lot of teams that aren't in the 8 that I reckon a lot of people would have had pre-season.
Yeah, well, I did this overs and unders last week, and there was 8 teams who we thought underperformed. I had no arguments. And they were West Coast, North, Melbourne, Sydney, Carlton, Port, Fremantle, and the Giants. All are underperforming from expectations. So it was always going to happen, wasn't it? There's like 15 teams who everyone thought they could play finals, and now it's sort of, I think by the time the round 10 kicks in, we're probably only 1 or 2 teams away from locking the 8. I mean, who's going to make the 8 out of those teams?
Well, I haven't looked at their draws. I haven't looked at the draws for Sydney and stuff like that. See, Sydney beat Sydney are 14th, and I still reckon they're definitely a top 8 team, but you reckon the writing's been on the wall for a while with them. So this time, the final 8 last year was Sydney.
This time of year?
No, end of the year.
Can we go to round 9 last year and give me the top 8?
Okay.
Chris will do that.
I can do that.
He'll do it in like 5 seconds. It'll bring it up and he'll just punch
AFL
it
tables, mate. All righty. Sydney Swans. So the 8, just for what it's worth because it's on the screen.
No, it's stand corrected.
Sydney, Port, Geelong, GWS, Brisbane, Western Bulldogs, Hawthorn and Carlton were in the 8 at the end of last year.
At the end of last year, yeah.
And so this was
TikTok, Chris.
This was round 9. Well done, mate. Sydney. Yes. So this is round 9.
Okay.
Sydney, Geelong, Essendon were 3rd.
There you go.
Melbourne were 4th. GWS were 5th. Carlton was 6th. And Port, Carlton and Collingwood were 8th.
Yeah. So this time last year, Collingwood didn't make the 8 by the end. Mm-hmm. Essendon didn't make the 8 by the end. And there was one other. That might have been it. Melbourne didn't make the 8. So 3 of the teams changed. So we're not far off, are we, from being settled, which is a bit of a concern for the AFL. What are we doing the last 10 weeks for? That someone could get, we saw Hawthorn weren't in the 8 this time last year. Who else wasn't in the 8 this time last year? Maybe Fremantle. Well, they didn't make finals, did they?
3 teams in the 8 right now are going to be playing on Sunday, and 3 of the others are the bottom 3 teams, Richmond, North Melbourne and West Coast. We'll dissect those next for Greenworks, Australia's ultimate battery-powered garden brand. So just quickly, you tipped Collingwood last night, tipped St Kilda Carlton?
Carlton.
Melbourne Hawthorn.
What did I do? Hawthorn, yes.
It's flipped on Essendon Sydney.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
You're going for Sydney.
Yep.
You've tipped the Bulldogs to beat Gold Coast.
Yep.
And you've tipped Adelaide to win easy against Port.
Yeah, over 39.
Wow. We'll take a break. 32 degrees, our expected top today, 13 currently, 26 tomorrow, partly cloudy, 27 for Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to my mum, Jess, and home.
They get organised.
And all the kids. I had 2 home opens set down for Sunday and then realised it was Mother's Day. Not a good idea. I've withdrawn the home opens. Yeah. Mother comes
You're going
first.
pretty well then. Oh, boy.
Mother comes first. Let's do a sports update. Let's go down and see him, give him a cup of tea, have a chat. I'll go see her today, actually. Shop the Chemist Warehouse Mother's Day fragrance sale on now. She'll be listening. She's a great fan of yours, Simo.
And of yours, Goss.
Keeps me on my toes, my mutt.
Finally official, the Perth Bears will become the NRL's 18th team with the new franchise. Set to join the competition in 2027, Roger Cook and Peter V'landys made the official announcement yesterday at HBF Park. It means the Bears badge and colours will return from a 27-year exile after North Sydney, of course, became a victim of the reunification between Super League and the Australian Rugby League. It also marks the first Perth franchise since the Western Reds. And the Perth Reds competed from 95 to 97.
Love it.
Are we getting behind them?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Why don't I just keep thinking the Brisbane Bears? Is it okay to bring out an old? I reckon there'll be old Brisbane Bears jumpers.
Oh,
There will be, won't there?
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Anything
that's kind of got bears on them, they'll.
Oh, I love it.
Bears.
I cannot wait. I think it makes a true national
call.
call.
What? Is that just because the rename of the old?
North Sydney.
Yeah.
Bears.
Yeah, it's
Really
their team.
resonate with Perth, doesn't it?
Well, the word Perth probably helps.
Yeah, for the Bears.
The Quackers.
Nah, thanks.
You got the Quacker Cup or whatever it is in your industry.
Racist, yeah.
People always try
I
to
see
get...
the Bear Cup over here. The Perth Bear Cup.
Okay.
Oh, he's got his arms crossed.
I know.
Eagles, what significance is that for Western
Are
Australia?
you serious?
Yes, I am serious. How did that come about?
There's plenty of eagles in
don't
WA.
know.
I've never seen a bear in WA. Griff liked that one. Have you ever seen a bear in WA?
What is the significance of an eagle to Western Australia?
There's plenty of. Have you seen?
Doesn't matter, mate. I've seen
plenty of Port Hedland.
Mate, I've seen plenty
eagles
of
galore.
I've seen plenty of
There's more
seagulls too.
eagles in Western Australia than anywhere else in the country. There you go.
More eagles in Western Australia than bears as well.
I did not know that, but
There's
that
2
is
bears
really
in
cool.
Western Australia.
Yeah.
They're in the zoo.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
I don't
Koala
know.
bears.
Do we
Are
have
they
koala bears?
No, they're not.
We got
There's
that
no
wrong?
such thing as a koala bear. It's a koala.
Just a koala. Well, there you go. Don't even have them.
Okay.
Anyway,
Wow.
what
Spoil
should
your
the new
mum.
team name be? 13, 12, 55.
Perth Bears is good. Spoiled mum this Mother's Day with her favourite fragrance from Chemist Warehouse, shop in store, online. Don't forget, get your flu jab. I got my flu jab in the studio yesterday. Anyway, Brilliant. Hey, for Greenworks, more power, more fun from the backyard to the great outdoors, ultimate battery power garden brand. Just quickly, Dave wants to know, what was the clanger count last night per team, please?
21 to 31. Which team do you think you had 31?
I would tip it was Freo.
It was Freo. They had a lot more of the ball too, so, clanger's interesting because just dumping it long is not a clanger. So, and I wasn't a very good kick, so I just kicked it long and there'd be no clangers. So
this is more like a hand pass that missed its target.
Well, yes, which both teams had a few of those. Collingwood, every possession they get in the back line, it's a handball. The first possession, they don't kick it. They don't dump kick it. They shape it out. But yeah, a long kick, it takes away the clanger. It's the short one, the Ryan kick in the corridor. That's a clanger kick.
Thanks to 127. Is there a tiger in Richmond?
No.
So
Great point.
Drop bears. All righty, they're coming in. Okay, let's dissect these three games before it. Now, Richmond 16th take on West Coast 18th. Final teams to be done today, of course. West Coast will be travelling out today. Brock, Long, Gross, Bailey Williams and Harry Edwards in for West Coast. McGovern and Allen go out. McAuliffe, Elgar, Sims and Sonsi in. Morris Rioli drop, no surprise there.
Can you tell me a bit more about Brock and Gross? Because I've been barred from the club and I don't know what they're
Sandy
like.
Brock was the boy they got. He was on Gold Coast list for 4 years. He was a pre-season pick, defender, a little bit outsized, has a cracks in, not too bad. And Gross is a beautiful user. Surprised he got dropped, played well, got subbed, went back to Waffle, picked up his lip, played well, comes back in.
So
he's a beautiful user of the footy.
Does Harry Edwards play?
I'd be surprised.
Mm-hmm. They had a good win in Waffle. And we spoke to
very good
Horsley last week, and I said this last week. That is the first sign of improvement, is when your reserves team starts to perform, and I've seen it with all rebuilds. It actually starts in the lower level where the kids start to get some confidence and win some games against some men, and then they come into the seniors a bit more ready than recent years.
Who wins?
I'm going for West Coast. My head is taking over my heart.
Fair enough.
So, the other way around.
7th plays 8th. This one's in Geelong. I think West Coast can win. Brave man would be to tip them, though. Myers, Clahessi, Stevens, Buse and Polkinghorn in for Humphreys and Stanley go out for Geelong. Riccardi, Rouston, Angove and Angwin in. Darcy Jones goes out.
Oh, Jones out's big. Yeah, I'm worried about the Giants. There's something a bit smelly. It was pre-season that they had a really poor performance, and it was like, okay, that would worry me as a coach. And I know I go back to pre-season, but I've seen some of those things I saw in that game pop up, and yeah, they're relying a little bit too much on their talent, and their midfield's just not firing as well. So I know they've won the last 4 in a row down there, but I think Geelong are going to win this one. And Fremantle Giants next week's a massive game. They'll be 4 in a row, the Giants, if they lose this. So, yeah, I'm going for the Cats.
North Melbourne and...
Who are you going for?
Where is it? Geelong? Yeah, Cats. This is the last
I could have just said that, couldn't I?
Hobart Ninja Stadium. Interesting enough, has some quick ones. Some clever audience we've got. Troy says, how many Lions in Brisbane and how many Giants in Sydney?
It's true. I've been sideswiped by that. It just doesn't feel bearish over here.
All right. Sarong is the worst for it, says Curnow. Inside 50s don't mean much. They dump the ball in and are so predictable.
They do mean a lot. That's rubbish.
But what about where you get them?
Well, if our biggest issue at West Coast in the last 2 years is we're getting 63 inside 50s and we can't convert, I wouldn't be sitting here. So getting supply is number one priority. I'll deal with supply as an issue. Melbourne doing it a few years ago, they changed their style of play, and I sort of get why. But when you're getting massive supply, that's a great problem. It's just getting it right when you enter the 50s. So, yeah.
You do think they're important?
Absolutely.
Morris, Lohman, Gallup, Tunstall, Fort in for Brisbane. Sam Day, McLaughlin go out. Pink, Core, Wardlaw, big name, in. Logue, Payne and Fisher in for Dawson, Jackson, Archer and Will Phillips.
There'll be a day where North just come from the clouds and knock over a team, and it'll be a great step forward for Clarko. I don't think it's this one as much as I am a Shimboner. I went and saw them last week against the Bombers, and there's just some things here in transition. You can't see it on the telly, but they just haven't quite worked out how to defend behind their ball movement, and they're going a bit slow and straight, and then if they go any quicker though, they get exposed in transition. So I'm going for Brizzy.